Continuing, I believe I read this part already, but at least temporary. I'm gonna reread again. Dwellings totally ignored by mainstream religion the fact that the Bible does indeed give actual residence of Yahweh in an object in the sky. Houses, habitations, pavilions, dwellings, and sanctuaries in the sky show that these flying vehicles are at least the temporary homes for the Elohim and the other beings of the realm. Deuteronomy 26 and 15, home in the sky. Look down from the holy habitation from heaven and bless thy people Israel and the land which thou, you already said, thy people Israel, in the land which thou hast given us as thou swearest unto our fathers, a land that floweth with milk and honey. Yahweh's home is in the sky. 2 Samuel 22 and 12, and he's repeating scriptures again. Let me. I'm gonna go into something else. Lights in the sky. This is another subtitle. Until almost 2,000 years after the last book of the Bible was written, there was no form of artificial light, and if a flashlight were turned on the camp of Moses, it would be a miracle to say the least. The only lights known were the sun, the moon, stars, fire, lightning, and reflections from those sources. It is not surprising that these sources are what the authors used to describe the illumination appearing from these vehicles and the beings associated with them. Genesis, a glowing object passes over. Genesis 15 and 17. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp passed between those pieces. This is the first indication that a glowing flying object is associated with the Elohim. The word passed is more properly rendered passed over. Furnace, fire, pot, smoking, vapor, lamp, shining, burning, fire. So what is being said is that something resembling a shining vaporous fire pot passed over after dark. And that's deep. Because, like I said, the elders tell you when you go into the breakdown of Genesis, the Elohim and Yahweh with Salakia, Yahweh Shai and the Elohim, with the chariots created, everything. So, like I said, this book got some spirituality to it. Burning sulfur from the sky, Genesis 19 and 24. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Yahweh drops fiery substances and objects from the sky as means of destruction. Is an act recorded many times in biblical text. The word brimstone means sulfur or sulfur-like, obviously relating to the burning effects of the substance. Exodus, the burning bush. And the angel of the Lord appeared, Exodus 3 and 2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him as a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. Verse 4, and when Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, Yahweh called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. There's a glowing object on the ground resembling a bramble, from which Yahweh speaks to Moses. Note that he sees light that seems to be of fire, but is not consuming the object. In other words, glowing. Since in other texts, Yahweh contacts mankind in a glowing flying object and not glowing bushes. This is something on the ground other than a burning bush. Further examination of the method Yahweh uses to present himself would show that this is probably a flying craft that is on the ground. Bush, bramble, fire from the sky. 9 and 23. Exodus 9 and 23. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground, and Yahweh rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was a hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it all the land of Egypt since in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. Yahweh is dropping flashing fiery objects from the sky after Moses lifts the rod, and fire appears to be walking around on the ground. It is very serious, and there is a lot of noise. Fiery platforms. Exodus 13:21, and Yahweh went before them by day in a pillar of cloud. Repeating. Let me go into something else. Because he got a lot of precepts to back up what he's saying, but it's kind of redundant. So I'm repeating it. So I'm going to look for another subtitle. because, you know, Salakia. Dark and shiny objects. The darkness associated with the vehicles of the Elohim seems to refer to the density, solidity, or solidity of these objects, which the author uses to distinguish them from natural clouds. Thick darkness is described as dark waters, could be a description of shiny reflecting surface. Then he brings scriptures. He coming with Exodus 14 and 19. Elohim in the dark, and Salaki, Elohim in thick darkness. Spinning objects. Numbers, the craft revolves. Numbers 12 and 10. And the cloud departed from the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. The word kabab is the word translated into departed, and it means revolved. And I ain't gonna read that. He went off on that. Okay. Salakia. A range of descriptions. Flying furnaces, burning bushes, eagle wings, smoke, stars, and other objects are some of the other descriptions the ancient authors used to describe the fleet of vehicles of Elohim. He said Elohim, Elohim, Salakia. Then he's getting scripture again, Genesis. I'm trying to get to like some more information. I mean, like, it's beautiful that because like I said, he's backing it up with scripture. That's how you prove. But like I said, it's kind of redundant. Flight in the air. The fact that the Bible describes the objects in the sky is clear about how they fly, reinforces the physical nature of these vehicles. They descend and land on the ground. They ascend and take off from the ground. They hover above the ground and they travel swiftly in flight. The entries in the section are references to general flight descriptions, non-specific sightings in the flight. Genesis, a glowing object passes over. Genesis 15 and 17. Exodus, vehicles flanking movement. Exodus 14 and 19. I'm going to read that one. And the angel of Yahweh, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. Verse 20, and it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. The distinct, deliberate movements of the object shows a realistic rather than ethereal nature. This is the solid object flying around above the encampment and is physically preventing the approach of the Egyptians' pursuers. This object can project light in one direction, yet cause darkness in the direction of the Egyptians. Here is the first indication the angels are in control of the craft. Like I said, there's a lot of redundant stuff. Okay, the takeoffs. The phrase describing an object ascending to heaven is the translator's 17th century version of taking off. There is nothing mysterious or ethereal about such a simple description. When the object is described as glowing, spinning, metallic, and beings speak out of the object, it becomes even more apparent that this is a controlled vehicle. It is specific flight traits described that show that these are vehicles under control while in flight and not actual clouds, whirlwinds, or storms. And he given precepts again.